Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hearts and Stripes podcast. I am your host, Bree Carroll, and you are in for a treat for this Heart to Heart. So if you are new to Hearts and Stripes podcast, you need to know that we are all about seeing you thrive personally in your marriage and in building a legacy. And I'm really excited because today's episode, we're going to be talking about an event that you're not going to want to miss. And that is our military marriage date night. So joining me are some amazing women who will be actually at our military date night. And I would love for us to go around and just introduce our amazing guests for this episode. So we're going to kick it off with the one and only Carol. Can Carol say hello to everyone?
Hey, Bree, I am so excited to be joining you on this podcast and for military date night. I'm a preacher's kid, and so I grew up in a family with a really strict father, and I was told that I was only to date Christians, and we lived in a teeny tiny town where there were 8 girls in our youth group and 2 girls. So we literally had to talk to guys about Jesus before we could ever date them. And so when I was 17 years old, my mother and dad called on a family in our town that had the most handsome guy in our class. His name was Gene, and his last name was Kent. So that'll give you a little preview. And that day, my mom and dad sat around a little kitchen table with a coffee cup in one hand and a Bible in the other, and they shared their faith with Mr. and Mrs. Kent. And just as they were about to pray a simple prayer inviting Christ into their lives, their 17-year-old son, Gene, stuck his head around and said, "Hey, I've been listening in on this conversation. Could I become a Christian too?" And that day, Gene Kent invited Jesus into his life. And mom and dad got home and said, "Gene Kent has just become a Christian." And I couldn't believe it. Handsome, dynamic, intelligent Gene Kent. That increased the dating pool to 3. And probably everybody knows my last name is Kent. So you know the end of this story. But we actually met when we were 14 years old, began dating when we were just turning 18, married at 22. And we've had some ups and downs, but we have some advice we'd like to share with some of the couples who will be joining us on date night. And I'm so excited to be a part of what you're doing. Thanks for inviting us.
Wow, Carol, that is amazing. I love that story. It's like you are a young missionary for dating purposes, right? You were getting after it. You had to increase that dating pool, but I love that story. And I love how it shows, especially the experience that you have with how relationship transitions over time and how a marriage can grow and develop from a friendship and with a foundation of faith. So I'm so excited to hear more from you. But before we do, I have to introduce another one of our dynamic speakers who will be leading our date night. Pam Farrel, how are you? Thank you for joining us. We can't wait to hear your marriage story.
Oh, thank you so much. Hey, I just want to put in my hoorah and the applause because Carol and Gene, we've been friends with them for decades now, and we have watched them go through some really tough stuff. So they're the perfect couple to be sharing how to have that staying power and stay in love forever. So I'm excited personally to hear Gene and Carol. Bill and I, we met when I was 19, and we met at a leadership conference, which is a great place to meet a good, godly, strong, smart guy. But we both come from crazy and chaos. Our homes of origin could make daytime TV, lifetime TV craziness kind of movie. My dad was an alcoholic with severe rage issues. Domestic violence was a part of my home as I grew up. Bill's mom has mental illness, and so she just lives by fear, and she's currently agoraphobic and a hoarder. And she's married to a rocket science engineer who served in the military. So we have, and my father also, when he was sober and a young man, served in the military. So we have that background, of just a love for God and country. But we had a lot to overcome. When we said I do, we only knew a few things. We knew we loved each other, we knew we loved God, and we knew nothing about how to make marriage work. Like, we were coming in behind the game. And so we used to go to church, and we would sit behind couples that looked like they were in love, like an arm over the shoulder, holding hands or saying nice things to each other. And we would park ourselves behind them. And then during the greeting time, when you shake hands and you meet people, Bill would say, "Oh, it looks like you're in love. How did you do it?" And they would say, "Oh, well, we only have a couple minutes. Why don't we take you out to lunch and we'll answer that question?" And so, as a broke newlywed couple, 20 years old, they took us to lunch and they gave us free mentoring. It's like, woohoo! So that's how we got our start in getting our act together as married couples. We just asked everybody we knew that was successful. And that really led to our heart. We were in youth ministry at the time, and we saw that a lot of the kids' issues and problems went back to the parents' issues and problems. And so we started really trying to minister to married couples, the parents, as well as the kids. We started teaching marriage seminars when we were 20 years old, dating seminars first, and then we moved our way into marriage seminars as Bill at age 28 took over a lead pastorate of a small church. And we just saw that people ask us a ton, like, "Pam and Bill, how come you don't fight very much? Pam and Bill, how come you seem to be in love? Pam and Bill, how come it looks like you have red hot romance going on?" And we thought, you know what? It looks like God is calling us not only to be a pastor and wife, but more so to the world, to be marriage mentors to people around the globe, because we think everybody can have a happy marriage. I mean, if we can do it coming out of crazy and chaos, anybody can do it. And so we like to lead with that practical insight, some biblical wisdom, and a whole lot of humor. We will try to make it fun as well, especially on a date night.
Oh, I love it, Pam. You are going to be the life of the party at our date night, and we cannot wait. And I love that you talked about how you felt called in this way, and we're super grateful for that calling, because you're very practical, you're very relatable, and it shows a beautiful example of what God can do in relationships, even if your home life or your background isn't all perfect and put together, right? You can still have great success and really thrive in your relationship and like each other and have a good time while you're doing it. And I absolutely am so excited to hear more from you with what we have coming up for the date night. But before we get there, we have she's no stranger to Hearts and Stripes podcast. You actually heard from her on her episode when we talked about Summon, as we celebrated that book launch, but none other than our favorite friend, Megan Brown, here is joining us and will be at the date night. Megan, please let us know, what is your story, your marriage story, which you shared a little bit, right? You shared a little bit already, but give us some color to the story about your military marriage and why you are going to be a part of our date night.
Hey everyone, Megan Brown here. So glad to be here on the Hearts and Stripe podcast. As you guys know, I was on the podcast a little while ago and I did share a little bit of our marriage story, but it is very, very common. Like most military marriages, ours was very quick. We had only known each other for about 4 months when we walked down the aisle, and we really had no idea what we were getting into. There's a saying that likes to float around our community, is that you kind of know what you're signing up for, but I guarantee we had no idea. And so one of the things that we talk about in our military marriage is that I was actually a non-believer at the beginning of our marriage. I knew that maybe there was a God. I really wasn't interested in knowing very much about him. On the other hand, my husband was a cradle to the grave believer. He will be married and buried in the church. This guy loves the Lord. And so on our first date, he told us that he believed that we would get married. And I laughed loudly because at the time I wouldn't have considered myself a marrying type. And I said, you just met me. I think you might be certifiably crazy. But it was nice meeting you. Thank you for the Applebee's dinner. We can go our separate ways now. And we ended up walking through downtown Shreveport in the Riverwalk, Barksdale Air Force Base. Yo. So we're walking down the Riverwalk in downtown Shreveport, and there's this really beautiful water fountain, and there's lights, and we were walking and talking, and I could hear him talking about his future with the armed forces. He's in the Air Force, and this call to nobility. And I remember thinking, this guy has got to be a unicorn. I've never heard anybody talk like this. And so we ended up talking till like 2 a.m. And we ended up dating, and not long after that, he proposed. And it was about 6 months after our wedding date. We're waking up on a Sunday morning, and he's like, "Hey, Megan, I would love for us to go to church today." And I thought, no, thank you. You can carry me to lunch after you go to church. I would love some Chili's. How about that? You can take me to Chili's after you go to church. And I remember him turning on the lights in our little 2-bedroom apartment, and him saying, "I'm really going to be disappointed if you don't try. I would love it if you would just try." And so I was like, fine. So I threw on this really horrible, like old band t-shirt from a concert I got in New Orleans, threw my hair into this really messy bun, and threw on some flip-flops. And I have to tell you, man, that guy did not tell me the rule that you do not wear flip-flops to the Southern Baptist Church. I did not know that rule. I know that now. Now, granted, guys, this was 16 years ago. So I know you can wear flip-flops now, but back then you could not. That was not a thing. And so here I am, I show up, I'm looking 9 ways of wrong in this beautiful church. I'm sure the deacons thought I needed some sort of financial assistance. And so here I am in the land of, beautiful purses, pearls, and A-line dresses, looking a hot mess. And this very large man in a 3-piece suit with a comb over starts waddling his way to the pulpit, and he's dabbing his head with a rag. And I'm really confused about what's going down here. I'm like, what's about to happen? This guy looks like he's about to do something crazy. He starts preaching through the book of Ephesians, one line after another: predestined to sonship, adopted in Christ, given every spiritual blessing. And that had been the first time that I had heard the gospel. And when I say it wrecked me, I mean, it wrecked me. On the way out of our little 2-bedroom apartment, I grabbed that Bible they give you at graduation. I mean, it was just this, brown leather, gold foil. Thank God it had index tabs in it. Because when he said, "All right, beloved, we're going to turn to the book of Ephesians," I looked around like, what is that? What's an Ephesia? Is there a page number? Pew neighbor, what you got? Where are we going? And so it was very, very interesting to me that the gospel had been presented in a way I'd never heard it before. And so we're in the car on the way out after church, and I'm just weeping. I'm like, is this for real? Is this true? Like, is what this book says here the real deal? And my husband was so excited. He's like, "Yeah, babe, it's true. It's all true. It's going to be so good." And I'm like, "Well, what do we do? Like, what do I have to know? Like, what do we do now?" And he's like, "You want to go to Chili's? I'll get you some fajitas and I'll tell you all about it." And I was like, "Yes." So he took me to Chili's after church. And that is when we started really building our relationship into a Christian marriage. I got married because I thought it would be fun. I didn't really know anything else. And my husband, who is a faithful follower of the Lord, gently discipled me for 2 years. We were plugged into a nearly married Sunday school class where we actually read Pam Farrel's book. so it was really, really, really cool. I know. How crazy is this? So here we are, we're brand new. We're 20 years old. We didn't know anything about being married. And the Lord just really was very gracious to us and really gracious to me and through my husband. And so really the reason I think military date night will be beneficial for military couples is because we're not always on the same faith page together. Sometimes you've got a couple who has a very solid believer and someone who's new to the faith or is even rejecting faith. And it's one of the biggest issues in our community is that we have people that are trying to pull a load together and they're not equally equipped. We find it in both ways. Mostly it is women, spouses, find Jesus in dark places. And now they have a husband who does not prioritize the Lord and know what to do. And so coming from me, where that was my relationship on the flip side, I can share our experience of what it was like to be discipled by someone who really wanted me to know the Lord when my heart was still in open rebellion. And my hope in being part of date night is to give these couples some hope and some practical and tangible tips so that as you are navigating this faith journey together, how you can honor the Lord in that process. And through your love of the Lord, you can lead your spouse in a way that is God honoring and also hopeful and fulfilling.
I absolutely love that. I don't know about you guys, but I am already excited about this date night. You can hear the stories, the different backgrounds that each of us have shared when it comes to marriage, and just know that each of these ladies are really excited to just show up for you and really serve you right where you are in your military marriage. And I know a lot of you may know my backstory and know where I've come from. And it comes from being in and out of dysfunctional relationships after that S on my dad's chest kind of faded when I realized that he was not being faithful to my mother when I was in my teen years. And that really sent me down a path where I was not seeking Christ in the things that I was doing. I ended up being in a situation where I was having an abortion by myself because of the choices of relationships that I was making. And even that wasn't the rock bottom point for me. The rock bottom point was when I was in a 2-bedroom apartment being strangled by a man that I said that I would marry. It was in that time that I fought for my life and I looked up at that popcorn ceiling on this beautiful Texas day and said, Lord, I don't see the God in you. And I was speaking to my attacker at the time. I don't see the God in you. And in those moments, after I was able to get out of that situation and I played that back, like, Lord, why was I saying that? I didn't see the God in my plans, in the way, the steps that he'd ordered for me. I was outside of his will on so many different things. And it took me on this journey of healing, of repentance, of getting back in alignment with that word of God. And I got under some amazing mentors. And that's why I love how Pam talked about sitting behind the couple that looked like they had it right and hearing their hearts. And I got in community with a church and plugged in, and I really focused on who God wanted me to be. What did he design me to be? And I love this passage that is very familiar, right? Most people know Jeremiah 29:11, for you know the plans that I have to you. And I loved how he talked about peace and not evil. And if you look in King James, that part about an expected end, and that's what I sought after. I wanted that expected end that God had for my life as an individual. And you know what? Something funny happened when you get in the will of God and you start seeking the things that he has for you. Because what I found was that what he had for me once I clung closer to him was he brought someone into my life to really love me and pour out on me. And that's my husband. And that is why I'm excited about marriage. And I actually met my husband in the church. I gave him the little church hug because I was like, I don't really know. God's working on me right now. He ain't telling me nothing about you yet. But God had a plan for us in meeting in that small, what we call our desert season in Del Rio, Texas, at Laughlin Air Force Base. He brought the most handsome pilot into the church who ended up joining the praise and worship team. And like Megan said, shortly after we met and married and started this life of being in covenant and being partners in our relationship and having this desire to really thrive in our marriage, not have that mediocre, not that sizzle that fades away, but really being passionate about keeping our friendship alive and really being excited to be together in our marriage, because we believe that our marriage is a ministry and it's meant to not just bless the people who are in it, but the overflow of what comes out of our marriage has the opportunity to bless other people. So that's why I'm excited about this date night, because I'm excited to, like Megan said, give those practical tools, those little things that I've learned along the way that God has placed on our heart. And even those lessons learned, right? Those not so nice things where God is like, hey, you're messing up here. Let's fix this. Let's get this together, and share those things so that it can bless and help someone else, so that you can get closer together. And what I love most about date night is it is right in time for Valentine's Day. So on February 7th, exactly a week before Valentine's Day, we will have the military date night. It's an opportunity for you and your spouse to come together, hear from these amazing women, and really we're going to share our experiences. We're in this together. We're going to link arms. We're going to cheer for one another, each couple that's in there together. And we're going to really just grow and get that spark, that flame going, just in case you need that extra before Valentine's Day to truly love on one another. So I'll throw it over to Pam. Pam, what can couples expect during this date night?
Well, I love how excited all four of us wives are. I can't only imagine how fun it's going to be when we have our husbands next to us, because my husband Bill's funnier than I am. So I I think they're going to really get along as well. And our ministry is called Love Wise. We like to say we park ourselves on the corner of God's love and God's wisdom. And our key verse is the one who finds wisdom loves life. At Proverbs 19:8. And so that's the way we love to do date nights. We want you to love your life and love your loved one. Our verse for our marriage that's inscribed is 1 John 4:19. We love because God first loved us. And so we're going to bring you those practical tools from some of the books that are our military marriage favorites. For example, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Like Spaghetti. That's been translated into like 15 languages. It's probably the book that Megan and her husband went through. So many military couples bought 2 copies because we've been in one conflict, one war after another. And the wife would keep one copy and the other one would go overseas, and then they would do dates, with social media, with phone calls, but they traverse the same territory together. And I think one of the reasons why that book in particular has been a favorite for military is it's like super practical. It looks at the differences in the genders and how to make those differences work for you, like in parenting, in finance, in career, in the bedroom, in communication, in conflict. It deals with tough stuff like forgiveness. And it also has a lot of fun things in it, like date nights that go along with every one of the chapters. And so we will bring the best of the Farrel material. So Men Are Like Waffles, Women Like Spaghetti. You have to show up to find out what that means, and the funny story that goes along with how did we get that crazy title. But the second book that we'll pull some fun things from is the book that's the favorite when a spouse comes home from deployment, and it's called Red Hot Monogamy. And it's to keep that spark, that sizzle, that woo in your relationship year after year. And we look at the 8, like if you look at your diamond ring, your wedding ring, there's facets on that diamond. Well, red hot monogamy, sex, is multifaceted too. And so we look at the 8 most important facets of marriage and how to gain unity in those areas so that behind bedroom doors or wherever that you might enjoy some red hot monogamy, it can bring that spark and sizzle back into your relationship. Because here's like a secret that shouldn't be a secret at all. God designed red hot monogamy. All right, it's a gift. And so we're going to share, how you can enjoy that gift, how you can bring that gift back front and center in your marriage, how you can keep a marriage going that's fulfilling and encouraging, that deep friendship, as well as that spark and sizzle, and be good parents, all while you are traveling back and forth around the globe as military couples. We have had the opportunity to travel to many bases around the world to present our material, and military couples are some of our favorite couples because y'all are so friendly. I mean, you make friends so fast. So I know that the couples that show up here are going to make friends with our husbands right away. You're going to connect because you're some of the best people, I think, in the world. So I'm a little bit biased towards military marriages. I'm excited to be able to come and just bring the best of what God gave to Bill and I that have helped us stay in love. Now we'll be celebrating our 42nd wedding anniversary, right? And that's like a mini miracle when you think of the crazy we came from. So we're looking forward to celebrating and getting ready. We'll give you lots of practical so you can end up with a really wonderful Valentine's week. Hey, not just a day. Let's make a good Valentine's week as a result of coming to date night.
Oh, I'm so here for the celebration and making a holiday more than just the day. We do that with Military Marriage Day. We stretch that thing on out so that you can continue to pour into one another all year round, right? So I love the tangible and practical things that couples will receive during the date night. And let me just foot stomp one thing that Pam said that I think is really, really, really important that we don't talk about enough, which I'm sure we're going to talk about at date night, but that God created and sex and intimacy. So for all my believers out there who are like tiptoeing around that thing, hey, it was designed for your relationship, for your marriage. If there's anyone who should be swinging from the ceiling fans, guys, it's us. I'm just saying, disclaimer, that's how I feel. But let me jump over to Carol and Megan. If you have ever heard them speak, maybe you were a part of Speak Up, you know that they are giving. They come in, they love to have a great time, and they are givers. And during the date night, Megan, a little birdie told me that we'd be giving away some amazing prizes. We're not going to tell them what it is, but if y'all know how Carol and Megan roll, you absolutely know that they are giving. Carol, share your heart on just some of the things that we'll be sharing and pouring into couples, not just from an educational standpoint, but also some things we may be sending them in the mail.
Well, I've probably been married longer than any of you who have been married. And I want you to know I am married to a fun-loving, hilarious man who has a different personality than I do. And he is more steady, and I'm more high, low, and he kind of evens me out and shakes me up a little bit. But we'll share some stories about how even couples with different personalities actually can benefit from the differences in each other. And we wrote a book together called Staying Power, and we're going to talk about how you can hold on to your marriage with faith, with love, with humor for sure, and with the Lord. And we will be giving that away. And there are all kinds of giveaways that everybody in these boxes that I'm looking at right now, these wonderful women are throwing in. And we also have some surprises. So some of Pam and Bill's books will be given away. Some of mine will be given away, including a devotional. And I just kind of think we might hear from Miss Megan about another book we'll be giving away.
Oh my gosh, we'll be giving away so many books. So you're not going to want to miss it. I don't want to spoil the surprise. So come and join us, and there will be so many things to hear, to be encouraged by, and to get in the mail. We've got some exciting things coming down the pipeline. You're not going to want to miss it.
Absolutely. So if you want more information, this sounds like something you really want to go to, you're unsure, you're on the fence, feel free to head to www.militarymarriageday.com/date night. That's militarymarriageday.com/date night. And you can get the full rundown of what we have planned just for you, so that you are aware. It is a couples ticket, so the both of you can attend the date night regardless of your geographical location. It's all virtual. You can tune in, and it is only $5. We want you to invest in yourself, because let me be clear, with these giveaways and with these party ladies on here, they're going to be giving you way more than the value of that you will be investing in your relationship. But it's just $5 for a couples ticket. We cannot wait for you to join us. And another thing that I would love to just foot stomp here, also with that $5 ticket, we mentioned that it's February 7th. If you are unable to attend, also with that investment, you get a replay of the session, so that if you need to go back and watch it after the fact, maybe the time doesn't work for you, the day doesn't work for you. Oh, don't worry. We thought this completely through. We want you to be able to watch the replay. So you'll definitely have that to maybe have a date night when it is convenient for you. So we will actually be live on Monday, February the 7th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can find out all of those details at militarymarriageday.com/date night. And we cannot wait for you to join us for this date night. It's going to be incredible, and it's going to be even better when you are there. So make sure that you get your ticket. But before I let you ladies go, there's one of my favorite things that I love to do here on Hearts and Stripes podcast. And y'all know what it is. It's Heart Tracks. You can find the full playlist of our Heart Tracks on Spotify, and the link will be in the show notes for you to easily access that. Our Heart Tracks are really just reminders of the episodes, so that you can be sweeping and doing your thing, driving in your car, and have those little friendly reminders about the discussions and the things that we talk about right here on Hearts and Stripes podcast. So I'm gonna kick it over to Pam. She's in the hot seat. What is our military marriage date night heart track that we are going to be rocking out to?
Okay, so I grew up country, so we're going to have a little bit of country going on here too. From like Randy Travis, I'm going to love you forever and ever, amen. Hopefully we'll hear just a little tune of this as I play it. On we at our 25th wedding anniversary is one of the songs that we're playing in the background. It's gonna be yours until the day that I die. Oh, baby, forever and ever. Amen. Woo!
I love it. I am excited. We are going to definitely link that as our heart track for this episode, but not just for this episode, for our military date night. I am so grateful. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Megan, for being here on Hearts and Stripes podcast. It has been amazing, but it is going to be even more fun during our date night. So be sure that you are there joining us on February the 7th. That is all for this episode. You guys continue to thrive personally in your marriage and in building your legacy. And until next time, we will chat with you then. Bye, everyone.
Hey, this is Megan Brown, and we are so excited about the upcoming military marriage date night. Join us on February 7th, and we are so excited to see you there.
Hello, everyone. It is Bree Carroll, founder of Military Marriage Day, and I am so excited to invite you to Military Date Night. You are not going to want to miss it on February the 7th. Grab your spouse, get your couples ticket, and make sure that you are in your seat for the amazing giveaways that we have and all of the information we will be pouring out to our couples. These are some practical tips that you're going to want to be in the room for hearing. And guess what? Even if you're not in the room, you can catch the replay. So make sure you get your couples ticket for February the 7th, Military Date Night, brought to you by Military Marriage Day.
Hey, everybody. I'm Carol Kent, and I am so excited to be joining you for the Military Date Night that is going to take place on February 7th. We'll have all kinds of giveaways. We are going to laugh so hard, we'll fall off our chairs. We're going to meet each other's spouses. And if your spouse is overseas or somewhere else, come anyway. We look forward to seeing you. And oh my goodness, you are not going to believe the giveaways. We are already gearing up for the best night ever. So don't miss it. February 7th, Military Date Night. I'll see you there.
Hi, I'm Pam Farrel, and I'm representing Pam and Bill Farrel of Lovewise Ministries. You probably know us best by our best-selling book, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Like Spaghetti, or perhaps you got given Red Hot Monogamy, woo, as a shower present when you got married. And Bill and I are excited to meet all the spouses. So grab your spouse, come February 7th, and Bill and I will give you the best of all the information that have helped us stay in love for a lifetime. But even more so, you will leave with a cool planning sheet that you can create your best Valentine week ever. So we will see you right around the corner is that Valentine's season, a wonderful way to build into your marriage.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.